Hello everyone! So, in today's video I wanted to just ramble a bit about this upcoming game called Crimson Desert. It's been on my radar for many years at this point, and I didn't write any scripts or write down any particular thoughts, so as I said, it's a bit of a rambling video, but hopefully it is somewhat entertaining. The reason why I'm making this is because I would like to cover this game a bit when it comes out. It's a game I've been genuinely looking forward to and keeping a watchful eye on. I realized that the game is close to being released, and they really ramped up advertisements for it. Right now it's hitting like I guess what you would call the mainstream media is picking it up a lot more extensively. And I'm sure at this point there have been people who's been getting early review copies and whatnot, and so I just wanted to share some thoughts or concerns on the game going into it from someone who, you know, is just a regular consumer going into this. So I hope that at least some of what I'm saying will make some sense going into this video. So my first thought on Crimson Desert would be on the aspect of optimization. Or rather, from what I can tell so far, the game seems to be rather optimized. People have reported that in native 4K even, they're getting decent results on not necessarily lower end systems, but previous generations, more like high end systems, and that bodes well. It's also not Unreal Engine 4, it is their own developed engine. I believe it is the same engine that is used in Black Desert. Full disclosure, I also play Black Desert, or I've been playing it since it came out on and off for ages. It's not really an active game for me the last couple of years. But we're not here to talk about Black Desert, but I think it's cool that they made their own engine, and from early tests or early reports so far, the optimization seems to be decent at least. I don't know how it's gonna run on other systems, but my big concern for this game, one of my big concerns was optimization and how well it was going to run. I'm not saying that with the current reports all of those concerns have been alleviated, far from it. I mean, when this hits the masses, there's going to be a lot more information they can pick up on different systems here and there. So with all those systems, they have a much larger pool to extract data from, allowing them to hopefully improve the game as we go further. And you can bet your ass there's going to be a lot of day 1, day 2 updates. There's going to be a lot of patches coming in the first 2-3 weeks of the game. But no, yeah, optimization is definitely 100% something I am concerned about, but I am a bit more hopeful going into it now, the last 2 or 3 weeks that I've been paying attention to it, than I was before all of this information came out. So yeah, that's my thoughts on optimization as it stands right now. Now let's move on to the big one. I think this is the one that grabs people's eyes when they first were told about this game, and that is the combat. Combat to me looks fun, it looks fluid. I am, however, a bit concerned about the camera when it comes to combat. In the conventions they've been to a year ago, and I guess some of the other conventions they've done throughout the years, combat has felt good from the reports. Camera, however, has been a bit of a contention with people. It can be a bit, I don't know, clunky at times, and I'm fairly certain this is not fixed going into it. Camera is going to be a bit of a struggle, I believe, at times. Hopefully they can iron out the quirks here and there before release, but That's my biggest concern when it comes to combat. I don't think combat itself is going to be boring, absolutely not, but I think the camera is still going to need some work. And well, I'm no game dev. For all I know, all of this has now been fixed, but that's one of the concerns I had. Other thoughts I have on combat is, I don't know, you can swap between 3 different playable characters, while Cliff is the main protagonist of the game. You can still play with the skill sets of the 2 other ones that's in the game. They're like side characters you can play. How that goes and how that will feel swapping between them, I'm not sure. I would have liked for Cliff to have access to the skills that the 2 other ones do. I don't know if that's a thing that you can get later on, I have no idea, but in a fantasy game like this, from what I've seen of Cliff himself, he doesn't seem to have access to that much like magic related abilities. I know that as the game goes on and you progress through the story and you get more access to skills, the combat becomes a lot more involved, there are a lot more options, and I think that bodes well for a well-rounded experience when it comes to combat. I was just hoping to kind of see Cliff have access to a lot more, I don't know, cool shit, if that makes any sense. Like, if you compare it to The Witcher, for example, he has all the signs, right? You can set up a build if you wanted to. I don't know how many options we have for build diversity in the game, but I'm really hoping that the stuff they've shown is more of the early stuff and not a fully fledged or fully fleshed out character that is, deep into the combat and its skills. So that's something that I think should be cool. Another thing with combat is, the game has bosses for you to kill and fight, and I love bosses. I'm not comparing it to a Souls game, but I want to take you down a bit of a, I don't know, a path here of thoughts, that this silly little dude has. And that is, in Souls games, right, you have I might catch some flack for this, but it's a rather simplistic combat, right? You have your health bar, and you have your stamina bar. If you delve into magic, you have mana or FP, whatever the hell you want to call it. But what makes the combat fun and fluid in those games is, learning patterns, knowing when your attack opportunities are there, when can I dodge, what attack can I be greedy on, etc., etc. So while the base set is rather simplistic, the overall experience of fighting a boss with, an extensive moveset makes the experience a lot more fun and interactive. In Crimson Desert, as I said, they also have bosses, but from the stuff that I've seen, it seems a lot of these bosses have certain gimmicks. And in order to defeat these bosses, you need to interact with these gimmicks in order to fight them or defeat them. I would like to, or it's not necessarily a concern, for all I know this could be super fun and could be extremely engaging to, have to deal with. But if I enjoy the melee combat in the game and fighting bosses just with my melee, dodges, parries, blocks, whatever have you, I think being taken out of that particular experience to start doing some gimmicks is not necessarily something that's super fun, in my opinion. That's not to say you guys can have a different experience or opinion than me, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing. It could be super fun, for all I know, as I said, but it's just one of those things that I am somewhat concerned about. The combat in Black Desert is super fun. It's the main appeal if you were to play it. It's the combat, it's super fluid, and while I understand there's a separate team developing this game than the team developing Black Desert, I'm sure they have taken inspirations. Like, one of the attacks that Cliff has is quite literally an attack that the warrior in Black Desert has, so that should be fun. But that's just one of those things. But yeah, enough of me rambling about the combat. I think combat is gonna be great. I think it's gonna be fun. As I said, camera is a cause for concern, and the whole gimmicks of boss fights might be something that can get a tad bit old. But I haven't played it, so I have no idea. I'm just sharing my thoughts here. So yeah. Now I'd like to talk a bit about the immersiveness of the worlds and just immersion in general, I suppose. So I guess a lot of my concerns and thoughts have somewhat been alleviated by recent videos, but I would still like to share some of it. So, one of the things I was very, very much afraid of, or my big concern, was that the world, while combat is great, graphically speaking, it's drop dead gorgeous, was that the world might feel empty. That while there is a vast open world, there might not be a whole lot of stuff in the world itself, but from recent videos, the world seems rather interactive and rather immersive. So I think it's been so long since I've really delved into an open world single player RPG like this, and from what I can tell, it's gonna be quite the immersive experience, at least from what I can tell. I guess a good combo, or not combo, but a a similarity between different games would be something like Red Dead meets Skyrim meets Zelda. I don't know, something along those lines. And from what I understand, the director or the one of the directors, the creative director, I'm not sure. I think their favorite game was Red Dead, so it speaks about the intention and the I don't know, desire on how to present the game for the players when they actually are playing it. So one of the things I'm really looking forward to is fishing, chopping trees, going out mining. I think these are very immersive elements to me personally. I would like to interact with the world as a whole, and finding things to do left and right is just something that's just, oh, I can't wait to do that. So another thing too I saw, I'm not entirely sure if this is something if it's just a quest, but it was shown briefly, and that is the ability to trade between different towns. So you hop on a cart and you bring some trade goods from one town or a settlement to another. That to me is fun. I don't know why, but to me that is something that is just, I love doing that in arcades. BDO kind of had it in the beginning, but it's no longer there, kind of. But again, we're not here to talk about BDO. It's hard not to draw examples from that game when it's the same team and they do share some similarities. Being able to grow your own crops and your own, kind of like your own little garden is fun. I was kind of hoping there would be some player housing in the game, allowing you to kind of build your own, like, I don't know, farm in a way, setting up houses. You are improving the camp that you end up in after the tutorial, so that's kind of like your hub, like your player house hub, which you will end up upgrading and fiddling around with, but there's no you design how something is going to look from the ground up, and I was kind of hoping for that, but I understand it's a massive undertaking for the devs to do, but that was fun. That would have been fun, rather. Yeah, sorry. As I said, I'm rambling on here, and it's gonna be absolutely terrible to listen to, but whatever. So, no, I think immersion is definitely something that's high here on the list of things to look forward to. From what I understand, you can almost interact with every single character in the game, every single NPC, whatever you want to call them. There's going to be side quests left and right. You can get on the wrong side of the law, which is, super cool. And a lot of these elements, I had a friend, or a guildie of mine, asked me, what makes you so excited about this game? Because when he looked at it, he said that this just looks like another generic RPG, like open world RPG, and I can't really fault him for saying that, because while you look at the game and you break down all of its elements, it doesn't do anything revolutionary, right? There's nothing here that hasn't been done before. So it begs the question, what does it do to set itself apart from other great open world RPGs? And I don't really have an answer for you. I can't really tell you why I'm so excited about it. It's just, it's been on my radar for so long and we're so close to release. So to me, I guess it feels like a present I've been waiting on for a long time, and getting to open that present and finally play with it is something that is more exciting than the idea of this as something, or this is something that's been done like a million times before. But yeah, I don't really have a good answer for why this game is going to be better than some of the other open world games that we have. I do believe it's one of the bigger releases of this year. Do I think it's a Game of the Year contender? I have no idea. I don't really care too much about that stuff, but I was very happy that, the indies were well represented in last year's Game of the Year. But I just think it's gonna be fun. I have hope that it's gonna be fun. I realize it's really scary to be excited about something like this. The past couple of years we've been let down so many times by so many games, and yeah, it's difficult to not be concerned. It's difficult not to be somewhat withheld, but it's getting to the point now where I'm getting excited and actually kind of hyped for it, and I realize that could lead to some disappointments. And if it ends up being, a complete failure, then so be it. At least it's something to look forward to. It's something to have fun with for a while, and I'm just hoping that the game will just, bring out that inner child in me that, gets all giddy by exploring the world, finding secrets left and right, doing puzzles, exploring the world, defeating bandits, doing some story. I would like to mention that though, if you are interested. I don't think the story is necessarily going to blow your socks off here. I don't think the story is, going to be a masterpiece. The voice acting also seems kind of mid. I think Cliff sounds good, but I think for the most part, the voice acting is, I don't know. It's nothing to write home about. But I could be wrong. For all I know, some of the other voices in the game haven't been shown yet. So, but the point is, combat looks fun. I'm a bit worried about the camera. Optimization is still a bit of a concern, but it's been somewhat alleviated. The immersion concern that I had has also been, somewhat fixed. So, though, I am getting really excited, and I hope the game is going to be an absolute blast. And I hope you somewhat enjoyed listening to me ramble on, and if you didn't, then I'm sure there are plenty of other people out there who has a lot more, more, I don't know what to call it, more written, more detailed thoughts, a lot more cohesive thoughts. Cohesive was the word I was looking for. Cohesive thoughts, and not listening to a rambling Scandinavian. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.